Why the hell it get you started? Got me started. Why did they get me pissed off? Now I'm about to go NFL and kick this off. You really thought that I was this off? To let anyone in my domain, they need to be taught a serious lesson. Unless you strong as Zeus, there just ain't no use to go up against a madman. You can't win, G. I put you on ice like Richard Kuklinski, so stay away from shadows. When it gets dark, you make one bad move, they won't find your corpse, and the feds won't know where I dropped you.
Ladies and gentlemen, what it do, what it do. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to another edition of Major Level Entertainment. I am your host and owner of this channel, your boy Big Major, man. Appreciate y'all for showing up, as y'all always do. You know, I'm talking about around this time. I was a little late, so I had to push the show back about an hour. But here we are now, ready to get it popping. Today's show is I'm talking about the history of the Crips and Bloods and other street gangs that predate them. In my eyes, just from my personal history, what my account by what was told to me, what I've seen myself. Both my parents having been members of the Crips gang, starting back in 1969. So I want to get off into that and talk about that and the impact it's had on this culture. You know what I'm talking about? So you coming in, you new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and hit that right now if you're new coming into the channel. Also, you can ask me questions down in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I'm open to questions. A lot of you guys are not from Los Angeles. A lot of you guys know the history because you heard of it. But I'm down here, been down here since the 70s. And I can speak firsthand on this. This was my brother's idea. He was like, man, why don't you get on there and talk about the history of the Crips and Bloods? Why don't you do that? Talk about all this other stuff. So I said, all right, man, I'm gonna do it. He said he was gonna try to listen in or whatever the case may be. He don't really do social media, so we're gonna do that. And he himself, he's a Crip. But as a matter of fact, all my siblings is Crips. I'm the only person that went another route. But so we're gonna get off into that right now. You know I'm talking about. First of all, let me go ahead and give a shout out to all the people that showed up to this channel, man. Once again, appreciate y'all coming in and spending time with your big brother, your uncle, your homeboy. You know what I'm talking about? Let's go ahead and give a shout out to my damn nephew, Joe. You know what I'm talking about? He says, salute, huh? Hey, man, salute, Joe. Thank you for always, showing your love and support, man, coming over to the channel. Really do appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. That's my damn nephew. He says, congrats on the 100. Hey, man. Feels good, man. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come, like Sam Cooke said. You know what I'm talking about? But you know what I'm saying, I owe those last 2-3 subs to DJ. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Whom by which I probably still had like 98, 90, 99 subs if it wasn't for that guy. You know what I'm talking about? So I got to give props to little bro for that. Appreciate it, man. H. Davis, my goddamn nephew, sniper on the channel. He said, what up? What it do? What it do? I'm tired of saying it. What y'all doing? Hey, listen. He says y'all already know what to do. Listen, man. Hey, H. Davis, he gonna start snapping on y'all, bro. Like y'all, I don't think y'all really listening to him. If you ain't gonna listen to me, listen to him. You know what I'm talking about? I understand you don't want to listen to me. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to like me. But nephew, come on, man. Like, this is H motherfucking Davis, y'all. Who wouldn't want to listen to him, man? You know what I'm saying? Appreciate H Davis for always showing up to the channel, yo. Appreciate it. There he is, my damn cousin. Salute, big cuzzo. That's Chris that said that. Go James, aka Chris, aka let me cook this nigga right quick, aka my goddamn cousin on my mama's side, aka that barbecue grill master. Step up. He gonna ask you how you want your ribs. Do you want them, you know what I'm saying? Do you want them tender or you want them a little tough? You know what I'm talking about? And that go Chris. You know what I'm talking about? Always showing up to the channel. Appreciate Cuzzo for showing love, man. You know what I'm talking about? Cuzzo is hilarious, man. You know what I'm talking about? Be over there in the chats. You know what I'm saying? The Lakers and 5 chats, man, and he just be over there He be over there making niggas laugh, man. Much love to Cuzzo Chris. DJ, there he is, little bro, man. Speaker, little bro, man. There he is, right there. You know, I'm talking about DJ. Lakers in 5. Y'all all know him, man. Please go over to and like and subscribe to Lakers in 5 channel, man. The best Laker content that you're ever gonna get anywhere on the internet, anywhere, bro. I don't care if you're in Germany, Africa, Egypt, space, wherever you go. The best Laker content in the world, yo. Like I go over there all the time, frequently. Especially when he's running the show. I go over there, give my take, man, and I have a good time over there, bro. You know what I'm saying? DJ is one of the guys that there's a reason why I started my show back up. You know what I'm saying? I've been on YouTube for years. I've been on here almost 20 years. But you know what I'm saying, got taken down for a minute. But he's the reason why it inspired me to come back up. You know what I'm saying? Because I got something to talk about too. You know what I'm talking about? But when you want that Laker content, when you want that real, man, when you want some knowledge and some great takes, you might want to go over there to Lakers in 5. Take your girl over there too, man. Just sit. You ain't got to say nothing. Just get some popcorn, like Lewis will say, or H. Davis will say. Is to get some popcorn, sit back and listen to the show, man. Listening to some amazing takes. If you are a Laker fan, you don't want to be nowhere else but Lakers in 5, y'all. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Please go subscribe to Little Bro's channel right now. Detroit God, D-Town, you know what I'm talking about? My big bro, you know what I'm talking about? Only nigga that's older than me. One of the only few people that's older than me. Detroit. He said, salute, gentlemen. Salute, D-Town. Appreciate you for showing up to the channel, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Lewis, my damn nephew, the other sniper on the channel. You know what I'm talking about? This is the guy that I'll be telling y'all about. If you don't subscribe, this is the one I'll be telling is going to get you. 6'10", 375 pounds of raw muscle. Hey, look, listen. You don't want to fuck around with when it comes to Lewis. He says, what's good, huh? Let's get those likes up. Subscribe if you are new. Tell a friend and family member about the channel. Here we go. H, C, Pix, Zoe. You know what I'm talking about? What's up, Nika? What's up, HC Pix? Appreciate you for showing up to the channel. Thank you, bro. Ryan Anthony. Happy Friday, man. Thank you. Happy Friday to you, bro. I was just getting ready to say, did you sub? You new to the channel, man? I've never seen your name before, so I was gonna tell you to if you can't sub and like the content while you at it, all you gotta do is just double tap on it, boom, just like that, and you in there, you locked in there. Appreciate the sub, man. So that should put me at 101 now. Appreciate the sub, Ryan Anthony. You're gonna love it over here, man. I talk about sports, everything that is entertainment. I talk about sports, news, media. You name it, I talk about it. You know what I'm talking about? So I appreciate the sub. You know what I'm saying? What's up, man? It says the bandwagoneer. You know what I'm talking about? My guy, your guy. My best friend across the street. Hey, man, get the hell off my lawn. Keep them kids off my grass. You know what I'm talking about? So, yeah. Appreciate Cuba for showing up and showing some love over here. You know what I'm talking about? Ryan Anthony, if you come over here a couple more times, bro, then you will get a wrench. You know what I'm saying? Where you can become a moderator here. And then you see everybody else's name in blue, your name will be in blue too, man. So, you know what I'm saying? Become a loyal subscriber to the channel, bro. And I got you. You know what I'm talking about? It's fun over here. You know what I'm talking about? And get ready to get your laugh on. You know what I'm talking about? So without further ado, man, I think everybody's in here right now. We got 7 people watching. Let's get those views up. Come on now. And, Lewis is in the chat. Hey, Lewis. Hey, I want you to start knocking on doors, man, because niggas I don't think people understand where I'm coming from. You know what I'm talking about? So let's go get it cracking. All right. So as you well know, the title of the show, we're talking about the history of the gangs in Los Angeles coming from my eyes. So a lot of this stuff is off the top of my head through the history that I know about coming from just my point of view, my standpoint. I am from Watts, California. When I say that I'm from Watts, California, meaning that I was raised in Watts. Everybody know where I was born. You know what I'm saying? I was born in Jersey. Y'all know my story. Born in New Jersey. But I was just born there. But raised out here in LA my whole life. My whole entire 5 decades on this planet. My whole life. I was born in New Jersey because I got family there. You know what I'm saying? On my dad's side of the family. My dad's side of the family throughout history is from the East Coast, Chicago, Midwest. East Coast, Chicago, Midwest, New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, Boston. That's where his bloodline is from. You know what I'm talking about? My dad himself was born out here in LA, East LA to be exact. And then he himself was raised in Watts, whatever the case may be. On my dad's side of the family. My mother's side of the family is from the South, New Orleans, Arkansas, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Florida, all up in there. You know what I'm saying? So I happen to be born in New Jersey, taking the trip down there at the time of my birth. Stayed down there. Mom gave birth to me. But we were living in Watts. The family was living in Watts at that time. So that's how I was raised in Watts. So Watts, Compton, South Central is kind of like the base of my family down here, in the West Coast or whatever the case may be. So I was raised down here with them. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to this gang shit, I know all about it, man. You know what I'm saying? I know just as much about it as a person that's in it. You know what I'm saying? I never got myself involved in it, but several family members have been in it. Like I said, both of my parents were a part of it. Let me go ahead and jump into my parents' history a little bit because I said this before. I said that when I ever talked about had a show like this, I would start talking about how I know about these things and my connection to it. Well, both my parents was from a street gang out here in Los Angeles in Watts in particular, called Grape Street Crip. Now, the Grape Street started in 1969. It's 1969, 1970. You know what I'm saying? A group of teenagers started it. And they just came together. They would all meet up at the school. Now this is my mother's account. My father told me the same thing, but they would all meet up at the school that they were going to. And the school in the middle of their hood was called Jordan High School. You know what I'm saying? David Starr Jordan High School in Watts, California, off 103rd. And there's a street over there called Grape Street. That's the name of the street. And they started up over there. They would all hang out at the school. They would hang out in the projects next door to the school. And they would, they had to come up with some type of, they all hung together because most of those guys were like families, cousins and stuff like that. So in order to fight off neighboring gangs from neighboring cities, more than likely the Hispanic gangs, they would kind of, they would all band together and they had to call themselves a name. So after coming up with a few names, they came up with Grape Street Crip. You know what I'm saying? With Grape Street. Well, at that time, it was called Watts Barrio Grapes because there were a lot of Hispanics in that area at the time alongside the blacks. And when they came up with the Watts Barrio Grapes, that was a mixture of blacks and Hispanics together, the blacks and Hispanics together in that section of Watts. And they call themselves the Watts Barrio Grapes. So at that time, it didn't start off in the early age stages. It didn't start off as a strictly Crip gang or a strictly Hispanic gang. It was like they were both branched off. They both called themselves Watts Barrio, but they were branched off in between, the blacks here, then the Mexicans here, but they all kind of came together and they were friends, but there was two separate gangs. And then eventually, I say maybe about a year or two later, they branched off and had two totally, completely different names. So then they became the black side became, Grape Street Watts. And then the Hispanic side still kept their Watts Barrio Grape name. But then they both will still be friends. As a matter of fact, to this day, almost 60 years later, you know what I'm saying, they still get along. They're still cool. They live in the same neighborhood or whatever. So that's how they started. My mother and my father were both members of Grape Street Crip. My dad became a member in 1970 when they started, 1969, 1970 when they started. The Crips themselves started in Los Angeles in 1969. You know what I'm saying? They came about right after the downfall of the Black Panther Party. When the Black Panther Party really started to fall by the wayside, and they lost popularity and they lost members, a lot of those guys ended up coming over and joining these local street gangs, street organizations. You know what I mean? My father, he was a junior Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? there was a branch of Black Panther branch down here in Los Angeles off of 41st and Central. And my dad was a part of that, 15, 16 years old. He was a part of it. And when they died down, about this time, this is when other gangs started kind of rising up and taking some of the kids that was coming, that was junior Black Panther members, the local kids around. They started joining like local street gangs in those neighborhoods, whatever the case may be. And my father being from Watts, naturally he gravitated toward, the Watts gangs and stuff like that. Now, before Grape Street, before the Crips and Bloods, there were street gangs that did exist alongside the Black Panther parties, which wasn't considered a street gang, whatever the case may be. But there were street gangs out here that existed in the early 60s, early to mid to late 60s. You had the Slauson Boys, you had the Green Jackets, you had the Yellow Jackets, you had the businessmen, you had people like that. You had the Brims, which wasn't associated with the Bloods like they are today. These were factions that came before, that predate the Crips and Bloods. Before 1969, before Raymond Washington, Stanley Tookie Williams, and Jamal Barnes and all of those guys, started to, come into fruition or whatever the case may be. So that's how that started. When the Black Panthers died off, there was no more protection in the neighborhoods, in LA neighborhoods. So my pops told me, by his account, he said, man, we had to band together. Like, we was already dudes hanging out. We all already considered ourselves family members or whatever the case may be. Like, because, they was calling each other cousin all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's my cousin. Even if they wasn't cousins, they'd be like, hey, man, that's my cousin. That's my cousin. That's my cousin. So that term, that's my cousin, that term stuck. So to shorten up the word cousin, they started saying cuz. Now this was the Crips saying it. Now, mind you, there was no Bloods at this time. Crips started slightly before the Bloods did. Crips started in 69, Bloods started in 70, 71. So they would say cuz in order to shorten up cousin. You know what I'm saying? They weren't walking around saying cousin all day. Hey, man, my cousin, there go my cousin, I'm my cousin. So to shorten it up, when they would greet each other, hey, what's up, cuz? And then that's how cuz came about and became synonymous with Crips. Now, in 1971, in particular, the 1970-71 year, Grape Street really started up. And my father, he became a part of that. Him alongside a guy named Honcho. You know what I'm saying? They call him Head Honcho, who was the leader of Grape Street. He was responsible for starting Grape Street up, who actually branched off and gave Grape Street the name that it had. Honcho, my pops, and a couple other bigwig dudes, Solo and some other dudes, they came together at the park and they really put it together and got it moving. You know what I'm saying? And, they started really pushing that Watts car, because we're going to get off into the different cars in LA too. The car is pretty much a branch, pretty much, like the name would be Crips, but then you have different cars. You got Gangster Crips, you got Mafia Crips, you got Hustler Crips, stuff like that. Those are cars. The branches are the sub names of them, like such and such Crip, such and such Crip, such and such Crip. You know what I'm saying? So Grape Street happened to be a part of the Watts card. You know what I'm saying? They'd never been anywhere else. Watts card. Later on, some of them branched off and went to Compton and started another set in Compton called the Compton Anzac Grapes. But that's because there's a Grape Street in Compton. Well, there's a street in Compton called Anzac. And in Anzac, a couple of those guys that moved from Watts to Compton, which is really next door to each other, they kind of started up the street gang over there. They kept the Grape Street thing going. So that's how that came about. Now, my dad, he became a member. Like I said, he became a member like right at the time they started, 69, 70. He became a member. And they called him Tiny, a.k.a. Casper. You know what I'm saying? That was my pop's name. He was a big dude. It was kind of crazy that back in those days they called a lot of big guys tiny because these dudes was buff. They was getting a buff on. Well, they started lifting weights because there was a guy in the neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, who predated the Crips. He was an older dude in the neighborhood, slightly older than, Raymond Washington and Tookie and them. and his name was Craig Munson and the Munson family. Now, the Munson family, all them dudes was cock diesel swole. You know what I'm saying? Craig Munson was one of the big dudes. If y'all get a chance, look up Craig Munson on YouTube. Look up Craig Munson. He was one of the biggest gangbangers, like in terms of size and stature. He was one of the biggest dudes in the hood. You know what I'm saying? He was the first to achieve like status like outside the hood because he was so big. His physique was big. He met up with Arnold Schwarzenegger and all those other people, man. Like he was huge. He would go to Muscle Beach. But Craig Munson is one of my godfathers. You know what I'm saying? He was like kind of like an honorary godfather, you know, to me coming up, because, you know, Craig Munson is the reason why a lot of those dudes, you see a lot of, you know, old gangsters from back in the day was big, because they would go hang out at Craig Munson mama house where he had all those weights. He had like a little gym back there, man. He had thousands of pounds of weights back there. And my pops would go over there and he'd get his buff on or whatever the case may be. You know, I'm talking about when I was born a little, he'd take me back there, you know what I'm saying? And I got all these weights and stuff around me just looking, and these dudes just clanging and banging. Dudes be like 6'5", you know, I'm talking about 315, 20 pounds of muscle. And he was a big dude, man. So go look up Craig Munson, my damn honorary godfather. You know, I'm talking about, still alive to this day. All his brothers was huge. These were some big motherfuckers. When you see Tookie was big, but not like this dude. This dude was huge, bro. And it kind of leads me into why I kind of partially got into weightlifting, of course, because this was like, I was exposed to weights at an early age. I didn't really start like lifting or really getting into it till I got about 8 or 9 years old myself. You know what I'm saying? And then I started getting really serious about it when I got about 10, 11. You know what I'm saying? You know, got my little weight set or whatever, started lifting myself, my little Fisher Price weights, and started lifting myself. But so Craig Munson had these guys big. And there was a guy that came around Craig named Raymond Washington. Now, Raymond Washington and my dad were homeboys. You know what I'm saying? This is all on the east side of town now. I'm going to explain to you the demographic or the geographical location, which why you would hear people in LA say east side, west side. I'll tell you what separates it. So what happened was, you know, Raymond Washington would come around or whatever the case may be, and he would hang out or whatever the case may be. He would hang out and chill. He'd come down, but he always, you know, he was kind of like a troublemaker, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? He was cool, but he was a troublemaker. And Craig Munson didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? Craig was like, man, you can't come around here. This is my mama house, you know, talking loud, being disrespectful a little bit, being a little, you know, just being a little ass, you know what I mean? And Raymond Washington got to popping off at him. This is the story that was told to me. He got to popping off, man, fuck you, blah, 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 blah. Man, you jive ass nigga, however they talked back at that time, you know what I mean? And Craig Munson popped him. He popped him in the head. Pop. Hey, you can get your ass from over here then. Don't ever come back over here. And, you know what I'm saying? Craig, you know, Raymond Washington was like, well, hey, man, well, shit, I'll go start my own shit up. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't got to be over here with this. I'll start my own shit. So then he started something called the Baby Avenue Crips. Not Crips, Cribs. Raymond Washington would call them Cribs. You know, they were hanging out. What you doing, man? Hanging out at the crib. You know what I'm saying? Hanging out at the crib. So they were called the Cribs, Cribs, the Cribs at first. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The Baby Avenue Cribs. But they would always walk with this 70s like limp. They would walk around like that. Raymond Washington kind of walked around with that limp. And one of his homeboys, the story goes, one of his homeboys was like, man, who wasn't affiliated with anybody, was like, man, why y'all niggas walking around with limps? Y'all walking like y'all crippled or something. So then Raymond Washington was like, nigga, we cool. You know, we cool and chilling or whatever. I'm paraphrasing or whatever the case may be. And the dude said, man, y'all walking around like cripples. Man, we might as well just call y'all niggas Crips. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's what happened. And then it's kind of stuck. So the name went from Cribs to Crips. You know what I'm talking about? And that's how that name stuck. So Raymond Washington is mostly associated with getting the Crips. He gets in the streets, he gets the credit for really starting it up. Now, not really. Now, Craig Munson, most people say Craig Munson is the creator by default, but Craig Munson didn't really start. He never was attached to the Crips in the sense that we know it today. But Craig Munson was pretty much like, you could say he was a progenitor of it, or he's a part of the reason why it got started. Because had he have let Raymond Washington join his little clique, whatever the case may be, then Raymond Washington probably would have been something else. But Raymond Washington, since he was like, pretty much rejected by Craig Munson, he went and started his own thing, and it was called that Baby Avenue Crips. And then based upon what his homie told him, hey, man, you guys are limping a lot. Y'all walking around like cripples. He said, man, I might as well just call y'all the Crips. You know what I mean? And then that's how the name Crips started. Now, in the section of Watts, or the section of the east side where Raymond Washington lived, he didn't live too far from my uncle, who lived in what was now known as East Coast Hood, down there in the early 70s. There was a street gang over there called there was the businessmen. Now the businessmen were kind of already dying off. They were still kind of around, or whatever the case may be. And Raymond knew a couple of those dudes, and they started kind of dying off. The Slauson boys and all of those dudes, the yellow jackets, the green jackets. These dudes started dying off, and they created a Crip gang called, they were called the Baby Avenue Crips. That was the startup. But then one of those guys branched off and moved further up the streets. This was like San Pedro and 70. I think it was like 75th or 76th Street. So all up in there, all those dudes, the Baby Avenues would hang out at. And one of those guys broke off and came up to a high school called Fremont High School. This is where a lot of those guys that lived in Raymond's neighborhood, where they went to school over there. There's a high school called it's called Fremont High School right there on San Pedro. And I believe that is, we stayed off 84th from San Pedro at that time. I think that's like 79th, 78th, or 77th, 78th, and 79th in San Pedro. And right there, now this is crazy, because at that time, in the early 70s, 70, 71, 72, there was a gang over there that doesn't exist anymore called Castle Crip. Well, Raymond Washington's homeboy started Castle Crip. I forgot the name, I forgot this dude's name. He was my dad's homeboy too. He started Castle Crip. Castle Crip lasted maybe a couple years. I think according to my pops, because at that time that was a Crip gang. Today, almost 50-something years later, it's a blood gang over there called the Swans, right? Shout out to Angry for showing up to the channel. You know what I'm talking about? That's little bro, man. Please go subscribe to Lakers World Order Wolfpack. That's my guy, Angry. You know what I'm talking about? He said, man, this is different. What up, Major in chat? What up, bro? What up, bro? Yeah, man, I said I was going to speak on something a little different. You know what I'm saying? I got the history, the full history of it. Like I said, both my parents were gangbangers. They were Crips. And they were there when it started. Well, my mom didn't become a Cripette, because that's they call female Crips in the 70s. She didn't become an active Cripette until 1972, 71. So she became a Cripette then. You know what I'm saying? OG Trouble from Grape Street, Crip Watts. You know what I'm talking about? So that's how that came about. So Raymond Washington got that started on the east side of town. 1969, 1970, 71, all up in there. Okay. Now on the west side of town, this is where the geographical location gets different. In LA, anything west, going toward the airport, going toward the ocean, anything west of the 110 freeway is considered west side. Anything east of the 110 freeway is east side. So if you're going, let's say you're on the 110 freeway, right? The 110 freeway is kind of like in the middle of the city. If you're on the 110 freeway, if you're going north on the 110, to your left would be the west side. To your right would be the east side. If you're going south on the 110, to your right will be the west side. To your left will be the east side. So LA is kind of separated by the freeway border. Now, when the freeway wasn't around, it was separated by what they call the Broadway Figueroa corridor, or the Figueroa corridor. Now Broadway is considered on the east side of town, and then when you cross under the freeway, you got Figueroa, which is the next main street. That's considered the west side of town. See, when there was no freeway, you kind of had to look at those streets kind of like as an invisible border. Then they start putting train stations up and stuff like that. But so Los Angeles, when it comes to gangs, it's when it comes to geographical location, it's divided between east and west side. Anything this side, like I live on the east side of town, because I'm on the east side of Broadway. You know what I'm saying? If you stay on the west side, you're going Figueroa and beyond. You know what I'm saying? Inglewood is the west side. Hawthorne is the west side. Gardena, part of Gardena is the west side. Things like that. Culver City is the west side. Westchester is the west side. You got you got West LA, you got East LA, which is on the other side of the 110 freeway. Like I said, Watts is considered the east side. Some parts of Compton is considered the east side. Part of Long Beach is considered the east side. See, Linwood is considered the east side. Stuff like that. Huntington Park is considered. See, anything this side of the freeway is the east side of town. I'm on the east side of town. Now, in certain cities, you might have the east, the south, north, west, and east of that city. But the city at large in Los Angeles, anything west of the 110 freeway is considered the west side. Anything east of the 110 freeway is considered the east side. Now, around the same time, a little bit after Raymond Washington spearheaded the Crips over here, word got back to the west side of town. Now, this is Tookie's side of town, even though Tookie was living in Compton at one point in time, because he used to run a boys' home. You know what I'm saying? Where he was over there. He was like he was kind of like a mentor slash, kind of like a mentor slash big brother over there, in Compton. Over here in Compton, he was living in Compton, but he was always going. Well, he was working in Compton, and he was living on the west side. He was going between his grandmother's house and his people's house over here on this side of town. And Tookie gets credited with starting the Crips, but Tookie didn't start the Crips. He was a part of the organization, but he didn't start it. He was one of the ones after Craig Munson. Well, Craig Munson wasn't never really a Crip, or whatever the case may be. He predates the Crips. But Tookie was the one who kind of put the Crips on TV. In the 1970s, I believe it was 75, 76, 77, somewhere up in there, there used to be a show called The Gong Show. The Gong Show. And on The Gong Show, you had different people going there with the talents. It was like a 70s version of America's Got Talent, kind of. And Tookie went on The Gong Show. And, for he was touted for having the physique that he had, or whatever the case may be. So when he went on The Gong Show, he was a big dude. That got him exposed to Arnold Schwarzenegger and all those other guys. He would go to Muscle Beach. He work out with Arnold and Danny Trejo. And, Danny Trejo is the actor, the guy from Machete. Yeah, he was out there. He was working out with different people. Lou Ferrigno, that's the guy that played the Hulk. For those of y'all young people that don't know, he played the Hulk in the old Hulk series from 1970s or whatever the case may be. So with Bill Bixby, so he played that. So he would go over there and work out with those dudes, and he got recognized and he got on The Gong Show. So he took the Crips to TV. He took them to prime time. Tookie. So that's why Tookie is often associated with the found, with one of the founding Crips or whatever the case may be. I guess you could say he was one of the pioneers, but he wasn't the main guy. Raymond Washington would probably be more important than him when it comes to like starting the Crips than he was. So on the west side of town, they heard about it. Like, hey man, it's dudes over there. A lot of guys from the west side had family ties on the east side, so they would get word of it. Like, hey man, like these niggas got a little gang over there called the Crips. Like these niggas is badass. They go up, they be doing this and do that, and they niggas be wearing leather jackets. They walk around with canes. They tip their hat to the side. You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, Crips looked different, way different then than they do now. You know what I'm saying? They didn't adopt that red and blue shit until the late 70s, early 80s. We're going to get off into that. the part of history. So they would, they were just badass. Fly leather jackets. They had the little, they would cuff one leg up and they was fly. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? And they all were characterized by their canes. All the Crips would have a limp. That's why I call them Crips. They would have the limp, like cripples. So Tookie heard about this, and he knew Raymond Washington by reputation. He would always, he'd hear about Raymond Washington. Everybody knew who Craig Munson was all over the city because, like I said, Craig Munson was he was the biggest, like, gangster there was, like, in terms of, physicality or whatever. So people knew who he was. So people from all over would come out to work at his house. I don't care if they lived in Culver City, wherever they lived, they would come down here to the east side of town and work out at Craig Munson's house. Where Craig Munson grew up at, where his mother house was, is in a part of the city. Now the gang over there is a gang called Kitchen Crip. Kitchen Crip. Right now, there was no Kitchen Crip at that time, but now Kitchen Crips is over there now in the area where Craig Munson grew up at, right there off of Hooper in 80. I think he stayed off of 86 or 87, and that's where Craig Munson, his mama lived and stuff like that. So Tookie and them, they would, they would come down or whatever the case may be. Once again, they didn't have a name or anything. They would just come down. Tookie, Jamal Barnes, he was from Avalon Gardens Crip, but at that time, like I said, it wasn't no Avalon's Garden. It was just Avalon Gardens. That's a project. And people would always kind of name themselves after the street that they lived in or the project they lived in or the apartments they lived in or whatever the case may be. So when Tookie met up with Raymond Washington, they all met up at Fremont High. Remember, I told you at this time there was no Swan gang over there at Fremont High School. Swans didn't even exist yet. So they all met up 72. There's a picture that my grandfather had hanging up in this house. I don't know where the hell it was, but it was a picture of all the Crips, East Side and West Side. My pops was in the picture. Tookie, Raymond Washington was in the picture. Jamal Barnes was in the picture. Of what was it? Peg Leg was in the picture. All those old time Crip dudes was in that picture. Niggas had the afros picked out. They had the blue. It was a fire picture. I do not know what the hell happened to that picture. So they met up at Fremont. And then that's when they branched up and said, okay, man, we the Crips. We the Crips. We over here on the east side of town. You know what I'm saying? The east side is west side is cool, but the east side rule. You know what I'm talking about? This is the conversation my father said was had. Said, man, yeah, the west side is cool, but the east side rules. And it took in his side was like, man, the west side is cool, but the east side is cool, but the west side rules. So instead of fighting each other, going back and forth with each other, we have some of the same enemies. So let's put this thing together, and we just, we become worldwide with it. And worldwide with them meant taking over Los Angeles. So from that point on, 1971, 71, 72, that's when they branched apart and or they banded together, but then branched apart over different parts of the city. And then they start making branches of Crip gangs all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And then you gave birth to the 60s. You had birth to the 8 Trade Crips. You got birth to the East Coast Crips. You had Avalon Gardens Crips. You got Grape Street Watts. You got all the Hoovers at the time, before the Hoovers became criminals, because the Hoovers were once Crips. They were part of the Crip card. But then after 1996, there was a major shift amongst those guys because somebody was murdered, and according to the police, according to like gangs people who knew, the police had set those dudes up, but the Hoovers wasn't buying it, so they thought some of the Crip niggas had did it, and then the Crips blamed it on some of the Blood niggas or whatever at this time. So then they said, you know what, fuck it, we ain't following nobody. We big enough to go our own way. So after 1996, Hoovers dropped the Crip card. They stopped banging Hoover Crip. They start calling themselves Hoover Criminal Gang. Now there's only one Hoover set that's left that still considers themselves Crips, and that's the Five Deuce Hoovers, where the rapper Schoolboy Q's from Five Deuce Hoover. Those dudes still go by the Hoover Crip name. They still call themselves, refer to themselves as Hoover Crips. But the Hoovers at large adopted that the orange bandana, and they began to call themselves Hoover Criminal Gang. And now they say Groove instead of Cuz. So that's how that came about. Okay, we jumped up too far into the 90s. Let's go back to the 70s right quick. So around the same time that the Crips started up, the Bloods were coming to fruition as well. Remember, I already told you the Brims existed. You know what I'm saying? The Bebops existed. So the Brims existed. You had some you had some bishops, you had some Brims. The Pirus were in existence too, but the Pirus wasn't associated with Bloods. Remember, this is in Compton. The Pirus came about because as a matter of fact, a lot of guys that were Pirus were Crips. Piru started off more as a Crip. They had an allegiance to the Crips. Now, a lot of y'all wouldn't know that, but I know that. About 1973, I believe it was, 73, 74. Up until that point, the Pirus had an agreement with the Crips or whatever the case may be. Pirus wasn't associated with Bloods or anybody. There was their own gang because they were Watts. Compton. Excuse me. So the Pirus were like, man, you know what? These dudes, we tired of these dudes punking us, pushing us around, you know what I'm saying? Because they were a small upstart or whatever the case may be. Piru started from a street in Compton called Piru Street. Now here goes the story that I heard. Now, according to who was it? I think it might have been according to Jamil Barnes, one of the big time Crips or whatever. He said that the Crips, all the Crips, would take the way the word Piru was spelled is P-R or P-I-R-U, P-I-R-U, right? If you turn the U and flip the U to the side, the U looks like a C. So if you turn the U and flip the U to the side, the U looks like a C. And so now the word becomes P-R-I or P-I-R-C. And then if you flip that whole word around, now that the U has become a C, it spells out the word Crip. And the Pirus didn't like that. So the Crips would be like, man, y'all aligned with us. Y'all cool with us. Y'all might as well become Crips. Y'all Pirus, you turn the C upside down, boom, you're a Crip. This is the story that was told to me by several different people, but I first heard it from, Mr. Barnes. He first said it. And I asked my mom about it. She was like, yeah, that makes sense. It would make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because Watson and Compton would really fuck with each other. They call themselves the Hub and the Dub. To this day, they still fuck with each other. So if you hear people talking about Watts, more than likely they got people in Compton. You hear people talking about Compton, they got people in Watts. So that's what came about. So the Pirus was like, man, we tired of niggas. Y'all punking on us because y'all bigger than us or whatever the case may be. The Piru niggas was just niggas that just, you know what I'm saying? They look like pimps. You know what I mean? They wasn't big. They didn't have no muscle, nothing like that. It was just niggas walk around. Well, but, they had a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Because it was nice houses in their areas and stuff like that. So the Crips was, punking on or whatever. They got tired of it. And they aligned themselves with a young upstart street gang called the Bloods. The Bloods were coming into existence. They were small. They're still smaller than the Crips to this day. Still to this day, Crips, the Blood organization is way smaller than the Crips organization. So the Crips was fighting the Pirus. Pirus said, man, we got to align with somebody. So the Pirus, the Bishops, the Brims, all of those dudes came together and they got up under the blood, kind of like, not up under the blood card, but they kind of start like aligning themselves with each other. So, and then Pirus say Bloods, you know what I'm saying? Brims say Bloods, Bishops say Bloods. So that's how that came about. So at that time, Pirus was just a gang. Then eventually they started branching off. You got Actors Park Piru, you got Campanella Piru, you got Treetop Piru, where DJ Quick was from. You got different Piru sets. You know what I'm talking about? You got Mob Piru, you got Elm Street Piru. There is no gang in Compton that has that's an actual blood gang. Compton only have Piru gangs are Crip gangs. Now, if you're a Crip in Compton, you're going to be followed by, or you're going to be pre-named by CC. They call them CC riders. So it'll be like Park Village Compton Crip, Kelly Park Compton Crip, where Easy E's from, um, Santana Block Compton Crip. That's DeMar DeRozan's people. Santana Block Compton Crip, Nutty Block Compton Crip, BG Knockout. You got the Lantana Compton Crip. You got Anzac Grape Street Compton Crip. You got Raymond Compton Crip. You got Acacia Block Compton Crip. You got Westbrook's people. I think Westbrook's people is from. I think some of his people from Park Village. So this is how you get all these different Crip gangs, whatever, in Compton, and they call themselves the CC Riders. So Compton consists of Compton Crip gangs, and when it comes to the red side, all the gangs that are red is Piru, but there is no blood set in Compton, just Pirus. And the reason why I say no blood set in Compton and just Pirus, after I just said that the Pirus are associated with the Bloods, because Pirus ain't really considered Bloods. To this day, they still don't consider themselves Bloods. They consider themselves their own entity, but they would say the word blood or whatever the case may be, but they consider themselves Pirus before they consider themselves Bloods, if that makes sense to y'all. So 1972, they came about, everything was cool. They had an uneasy, peace or whatever going on about them. Okay, they were just fighting here and there. They would all meet up at the park. They'd come up there. They have chains, baseball bats, and stuff like that. And they'll fight, you know what I'm saying? The only time it really got serious like that is when one guy was walking through the neighborhood or whatever the case may be, and he walking through the wrong neighborhood and they jumped him. And then the gang would walk around, because none of them niggas had cars. They would either walk around or ride around on bikes from neighborhood to neighborhood going to go fight at different parks. They would always meet up at the parks, usually on the weekends or at night. But no murders. Nobody was getting killed. You know what I'm talking about? The first time that a gang-related killing happened, a gang-related murder happened, was at the Hollywood Palladium. The Hollywood Palladium, I think Tookie and all those guys was at the Palladium, and there was a guy that had a leather jacket on, and the Crips wanted the dude's leather jacket. So the dude didn't want to come up off the leather jacket. They beat him to death. I forgot what year that was. I believe it might have been 75, 76, something like that. I don't know. I don't know who was all there, but according to my parents, they beat this dude within an inch of his life. So when that happened, that kind of like shined a light on these dudes now. Okay, man, now the Crips is dangerous now. The Bloods were still coming up now. But that kind of shined the light on the Crips, making them, one of the more dangerous street gangs in Los Angeles. So, mind you, this is still the mid-70s, mid to early to mid-70s. You know what I'm saying? There was still no guns or anything like that. When niggas was getting beat, getting sent to the hospital, that was getting done by hands, bats, pole sticks. People had knives, of course. But I believe it wasn't until 1979 when a gun was first introduced. Like, people had guns or whatever, but they didn't use them. They believed in coming from the shoulders with it. But 1979 or 78, there was a member, I forgot his name. This is where I get kind of shady on the history at. But there was a Blood or Piru, either a Blood or a Piru, that was shot by one of his own friends. And the Crips were blamed for it. Now, mind you, up to this time, it wasn't no real big time beef. Yeah, you had fights, whatever the case may be, but there was no murderous beefs like you see them today. But when this guy was shot, instead of it being blamed on the person that actually did it and everybody know who did it, it was blamed on the Crips. No Crip gang in particular was just blamed on the Crips. And all the Bloods and Pirus from all over the city had a problem with that. And that kicked off the war, the real war, the murderous war between the Bloods and Crips in Los Angeles, California, y'all. That's what kicked it off, They started wearing blue around the Crips started wearing blue like around 1973, whatever case may be. They was wearing it. They wore it so much that it was like a staple. They said, "Okay, man, well this is gonna be our uniform. We're gonna wear blue." And the Bloods, everybody knows that on the color spectrum, you know, red is the antithesis of blue. So there was Bloods was like, well, shit, we're gonna wear red because red is the color of blood. You know what I'm talking about? And a lot of there's a lot of different stories out on what the word Crips actually stand for. Is it a word or is it an acronym? Now, of course, people turned around and used it and made it an acronym later, and they called it Community Revolution and Progress. That was the term that I known it to be associated with. But that's not the reason why it started. It started off as a word. The word was actually Crips, and they called themselves Crips because the way they would walk like cripples. So to shorten up the word cripple, you know what I'm saying? They didn't walk around saying, "Hey, what's up, cripple?" You know what I'm saying? They shortened it up. They was always saying "cuz," like, in relations to them, everybody being family, and they shortened up the word. Man, y'all walk around like cripples. Instead of saying cripples, they just associated themselves with the term Crip. And then later, I forgot who it was, but later, I guess he had to been a smart Crip or somebody that had to be thinking in order to kind of pull away from the violence and the negative connotation. Um, a lot of those Crip dudes came from the Black Panther organization when it comes to like the Black Panthers children program or whatever the case may be. A lot of those dudes were junior Black Panthers. My pop was one. In order to get rid of that negative connotation of them not just being a street gang, them being more of an organization, they call them Community Revolution and Progress. See, that sounds more, professional than just Crips, just a bunch of street hoodlums walking around, because that's not what they started off being about. They was about protecting their neighborhood, protecting their communities, because the police wasn't doing it anymore. So that's how the Crips, that's how that moniker came about. And then the Bloods, of course, they would say blood, in terms of relation or whatever, blood or relative. You hear Bloods today saying my relly or relative, whatever, because Crips is saying cuz they don't want to say that too. So they was like, well, that's my blood relative, you know what I'm saying? So they would say Bloods. And then later on, somebody came up with a acronym for Bloods. I forgot what the acronym for Bloods was, but that's how those names came about. Okay. Now, in 1979, two of the biggest Crips started going into a bloody war. They were cool with each other up until this point. Now, this is where Crips, just for y'all that don't know, that's outside of Los Angeles, not all Crips get along, not all Bloods get along. At one point in time, everybody got along. But all it took was a murder to happen. And this happened over a woman. 1979, the A-Trade Crips, which is a large street gang over here in Los Angeles now, and the 60s Crip, which is a large street gang over here in Los Angeles now. And they're both large in their own in their own different ways. The 60s are large by members. A-Trade is one of the largest geographical Crip gangs in all of Los Angeles because of the territory by which they stretch. See, A-Trades go all the way from Inglewood or the Inglewood area all the way coming toward the east side. A-Trades stretch that they stretch that far. And 60s kind of are located just on the west side of town or whatever the case may be, but they have large numbers. So there was a guy who there was a big time Crip at that time. His name was Monster Cody. You know what I'm talking about? He was around when Tookie was around, whatever, he's a little younger than Tookie and all of them, or whatever the case may be. But 79 marked something else. I'm going to get into that in a minute. But 79 marked a bloody war between the A-Trade Crips and the 60s Crip, which still exists to this day. It kind of died down a little bit when Nipsey died. Nipsey been from 60s. But this war has been bloody since 1979. And it all started over a woman. I don't know the details behind it, but I know somebody got their arm chopped off. That's all I know. Somebody got their arm cut off, and this was all due to a woman. Somebody was messing with somebody's woman, whatever the case may be, and egos got the better of these guys, whatever the case may be, and that's how it happened. most gang banging starts. Most people get into gang banging out of ego. Ego gang banging is one of the worst ways to using your ego is one of the worst things to get involved in anything, because if your ego is broken, that's when you get violent because somebody hurt your feelings or somebody messed up your ego or whatever the case may be. So it was over a woman and an ego, and that kicked off one of the bloodiest, most violent, um, same gang action in LA history, because they're both under the Crip card. Ron Ton Tizzy, salute, bro. Thank you for showing up to the chat, man. It's a little different today. No sports show. It's not a lot of people in here. You know, I'm talking about people ain't really interested in this stuff, but I was asked to talk about it, so I'm talking about it. You know what I'm saying? The history of the Bloods and Crips out here, from my point of view. So in 1979, the 60s and the A trade started beefing with each other. So it turned bloody, y'all. I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. I've been at clubs. I've worked clubs. I was working this club in the 90s called Club El Rey. And them dudes was a big time dude from 60s inside the club or whatever the case may be. And he goes in the club, and a big time dude from A-Trade goes in the club. They start fighting. My big ass got to stop these niggas. Now, I know niggas from both sides. I know niggas that from the A-Trade side. I know niggas from the 60 side. So I got to stop these niggas. A knife was pulled out. Some dude they struggling over the knife, whatever. They end up stabbing this girl in the chest. She ended up surviving, but nobody knew that she survived. From that point on, at that point, it started really turning up, man. Now, you know what I mean? Niggas stabbing females now? Oh, hell no. So it just became a big thing, bro. So it started to die down when Nipsey died, because he kind of like brought peace amongst in the city, whatever the case may be. But that only lasted a short amount of time. There was so much bloodshed way before Nipsey became who he was, or whatever the case may be, that predates Nipsey. There's a lot of bloodshed amongst gangs. Some gangs would never get along out here. That's just the way it is. Okay, so that's one of the bloodiest wars amongst the same card in LA history. It's not always Bloods and Crips fighting each other. Sometimes you got blood on blood action, you got Crip on Crip action. And I've been on both sides, man. Most of my family is Crips. I only got one blood in my family. My cousin Joe, rest in peace, from Swans, 8-4 Swans. So, but most of my family is Crips. You know, East and West Side. You know what I'm saying? So my brother, he was from Grape Street. My mom was a apostle from Grape Street. He kind of followed their footsteps. My oldest brother is from, you know what I'm saying, UGC. That's underground gangster Crip on the west side of town. My little sister, my oldest sister, is from neighborhood 111. That's Dub C Hood, neighborhood 111. And my little sister's from Bud Long Crip, 10 Dudes Bud Long Crip. You know what I'm saying? They're no longer active, but I'm just telling you where they were from. I never got off into that shit. I got off into something else. You know what I'm saying? I was busy, you know, protecting motherfuckers in the streets and protecting the damn country. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't get a chance. But coming up, I said, cuz. I mean, why not? Both of my parents were Crips. All my uncles were Crips, all from East Coast Crip and all of that. So that's just the way it was. Now, I'm not going to go through all the Crip gangs that are in LA and all the blood gangs that are in LA. I'm not going to do that, because that'll take a whole another show to do that. And then I would have to do research, because there are new gangs popping up that you know, post my generation. You know what I mean? But I could tell you about the ones that I know about. You know what I'm saying? The Crip gangs in Watts. I'm from Watts. That's where I'm from. That's my base of operations. That's my foundation there. That's Watts. You know what I'm saying? Born in New Jersey, raised in Watts. Been out here since 1975. That's about. But my dad was born in East LA. You know what I'm saying? General Hospital. He was born at the same hospital Marilyn Monroe was born at. You know what I'm saying? So we've been here, man. You know, it's a lot of sets. Like Ron Tizzy said, it's a lot of sets to count. But walk with me through the different cars. I could tell you the cars, because there's not that many cars. It's a bunch of sets. Now, out here in LA, you might hear somebody say, oh, neighborhood Crip, or gangster Crip, or hustler Crip, or avenue Crip. Well, those would be the cards. Those would be, you got the Crip card, but then you got the branches. So neighborhood 111, East Coast, these are considered 60s. They're considered a part of the NHC card. Anybody wearing a New York Yankees hat or a North Carolina hat, more than likely they're associated with neighborhood Crip, and their main color blue is baby blue or sky blue. You know what I'm saying? So if you're in Los Angeles, now I'm gonna talk about the hats too. You can't wear. If you're in Los Angeles, you got a New York hat on. They're not gonna ask you if you're a Yankees fan. They don't give a fuck about that. Most of these dudes don't even care about sports. If you get caught with that on, you're gonna get fucked up or killed, depending on how they feeling that day. Over a hat, you will get fucked up. Now, everybody know I'm a New York Yankee fan. I wear my New York Yankees hat, but usually when I wear my Yankees hat, it usually says Yankees on that motherfucker. But if anybody see that NY and they're from neighborhood, they're gonna question you. What you got that on for, man? I'm a Yankee fan. Nah, nigga, fuck that. You from neighborhood? Which one? That's if a neighborhood nigga ask you. But if a nigga that's an enemy to them, be like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? You got that New York hat on. You know what I'm saying? What's up with that? Oh man, I'm a Yankees fan. No, nigga, fuck that. You from neighborhood? And then that kicks off the problem. It's crazy, it's stupid, but that's the way it is out here. Mike Alexander, what's up? What's up, man? What it do? Thank you for showing up to the channel. Man, let's get those likes up. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get those views up, man. Come on now. You know what I'm talking about? I need to learn some more than sports. You know what I'm talking about? Learn this history, man, because a lot of you niggas don't know. But I hear niggas saying cuz online, saying blood online, and you really don't know what the shit is about. You know what I'm talking about? Especially out of town niggas. This ain't y'all history. This is LA history. So learn that shit and learn why you can't say certain shit and this and this and that. And learn this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Fuck sports right now. Tune in to your big brother. You know what I'm talking about? So that's what that is. You know what I'm saying? New York, NY, the North Carolina hat is synonymous with somebody from neighborhood. The Seattle Mariners hat, the baseball team, the Seattle Mariners hat, that's a 60s hat. You got that on and you ain't from 60s, you might get fucked up. And depending on what neighborhood you're in, you might get killed. Because like it's on real tough with some of these niggas. Some of these niggas out here is like it's on like a motherfucker. It's on site, you know what I'm talking about? So those are a couple hats you can't wear. If you got a Houston Astros hat on, it's orange and blue and black. Houston Astros. The Hoovers wear that hat. The Hoovers wear that hat. See, because the H stands for Hoover. You know what I'm saying? They usually use the stars or whatever the case may be. And then it's usually orange, some orange in there. Everybody know Hoovers is associated with orange. If you got a Houston Astros hat on and you walking through a neighborhood Crip territory, you will get beat half to death because the neighborhood Crips and the Hoovers do not get along. As a matter of fact, Hoovers hate neighborhoods more than anything. So if either one of those guys get caught walking through either territory, especially if you don't know somebody, you're liable to lose your life and get left out in the alley somewhere. So be careful if you're wearing a Houston Astros hat around this motherfucker. Any hat with a B on it, the Boston Red Sox or whatever the case may be, is synonymous with Bloods. You know what I'm talking about? You wear a B hat, you're getting fucked over. If C hats, people wear the Cincinnati Reds hat or whatever the case may be. Wear that, liable to get fucked up. If you got a Lakers hat on and a Lakers hat is purple, a lot of people will associate you with Grape Street because Grape Streets wear purple. You know what I'm saying? You could get fucked up for that in the wrong neighborhood or possibly even lost your life. A lot of the guys that are from Grape Street live in the projects called the Jordan Downs. So you might see a lot of them dudes wearing visors, Jordan visors, and they'll turn the Jordan upside down. So the Jordan symbol is upside down. And that stands for Jordan Downs Projects, which is where my parents are from, Jordan Downs. They weren't from the projects, but the gang that spearheads the projects over there is Grape Street Crip. That's where my parents are from, off of Grape Street, Lou Dillon, Alameda, 103rd, 97th Street, and stuff like that. Now today, the black portion of Grape Street is called they still call Grape Street Crip, but it's called Watts Baby Loke. My brother's Watts Baby Loke, Grape Street Crip, 103rd. And they would usually tattoo a pack of grapes on their arm or whatever the case may be. And like my brother, he got a pack of grapes on his arm, and in each grape that grape street member that he knows that passed away within his generation, the grape is busted on his arm. So he got a pack of grapes, stem with the grapes on it, and the grapes that died are kind of like busted and juices coming out. So that's kind of how they associate themselves like that. We got a gang over here in Watts called Fudge Town Mafia Crip. Mafia Crip, that's another card. You got Neighborhood Crip, Gangster Crip, Mafia Crip. So Fudge Town Mafia Crip, as you all know, they wear brown and blue. You know what I'm talking about? You got Main Street Crip. Main Street Crip, they wear the Michigan colors. They wear the Michigan hat, Michigan jacket. Everybody know my favorite college is Michigan. So I got, even me, with me knowing everybody and having family from there, I have to be careful because Main Street Crip don't get along with East Coast Crip, and I got family on both sides. So when I'm around my East Coast family members, I got my Michigan jacket on or whatever the case may be. Out of respect, I take it off. And they tell me, hey, cuz, take that off. I'm like, nigga, we family, nigga, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Let's go outside and catch one there. And shit like that. That family, they might let it slide. But a nigga that don't know, I can't name a name fast enough. Oh, man, my cousin is such and such, yada, yada. So all that checking in culture and all that, that's just not for out-of-town niggas. That's for niggas that live in town if you want to go to another neighborhood. You know what I'm talking about? Now, me, I'm good everywhere. I'm good just about everywhere. Every blood community, every Crip community, SA community, because of who I am and who I know. You know what I'm saying? But even in that, you can't fully trust that because remember, I'm from a different generation now. These young dudes don't know who I am. And even if I got the name of a legendary dude from their set, a lot of those young dudes wasn't even around when that dude was active. Because that dude might be in jail or dead now. And these dudes were born. He predates a lot of these young gangsters now. So they coming up, they don't know who OG Poo-Rag is. They're like, wait, hold on, young man. Before you shoot, I know OG Poo-Rag. I don't know that nigga, cuz. Boom! Just like that. The next thing you know, later on, the big homie, hey, man, which one of you niggas shot such and such? That was such and such cousin. Well, I didn't know, cuz. I didn't know blood. And that's how it would go. It's sad, but that's the way it is out here. You can't fuck around in LA. Bro, and it extends beyond just wearing hats or wearing certain shoes. There used to be some shoes back in the day called British Knights. Y'all remember those? Around time, kids remember British Knights. We old enough to remember that. BKs. You got caught with some of those on, man, you got killed. In the 80s, nigga, I had me some British Knights. I had some. The motherfuckers said, they actually said, British Knights going across the motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? There was a basketball player, Derek Coleman. Derek Coleman was one of the most famous people to wear BKs, British Knights. But BKs, it would say British Knight on the side and it would say BK on the back or on the tongue. And if you wore those shoes in the blood territory, you was getting fucked up. I'm telling you. I know a bunch of niggas that ain't here today from my generation got caught up because they was wearing British Knights. And it was just shoes. They wasn't hurt nobody, wasn't even gang related. And they was getting chopped up off of that. We had another shoe out here famous amongst gangsters called K-Swiss. K-Swiss in LA stood for, kill a slob when I see a slob. Slob is a disrespectful name for Bloods, just like Crabs is a disrespectful name for Crips. So niggas will wear a K-Swiss, kill a slob when I see a slob. So when Bloods will see you with some K-Swiss on, you would get fucked up over that. So K-Swiss and British Knights would get your ass motherfucked up if you was in any Blood or Paru neighborhood. Anything, it would get you fucked up. So you know what a lot of niggas would do? Niggas would just wear corduroy house shoes. Anybody don't know what corduroy house shoes is, look them up. They came in a variety of different colors. I had them all. I had every color except red. I had white ones. I had some purple ones. I had some blue. As a matter of fact, I was in the Slauson swap meet, the famous swap meet down here in LA. I was in the Slauson, and that's a Blood neighborhood. That's Six Deuce Brim and V&G. V&G is Van Ness Gangsters, Van Ness Gangster Bloods. So that's their territory, their neighborhood. Six Deuce Brim and Van Ness Gangsters. You had the 60s coming through here and there. You had some of the 40s coming. Everybody all over from LA would come through. So I'm up in that motherfucker one day. I had some fucking, what was I? I had some, I forgot. Well, I was supposed to go out. I think I had some Timbs. And I was wearing my Timbs, and I took my Timbs off to wash those motherfuckers. So while they sitting out in the sun drying, I said, man, let me go into the Slauson right quick. I need to go to Slauson and pick up a new fit. I want to give me some Levi's 501s with gangsters wear out here, crease the motherfuckers up. You know, you spray a ton of starch on them, crease them up real tight, and then stick them over there in the corner or stand them up. The motherfuckers be so solid. So my get up would be some Levi's 501s, some black ones or some stonewashed blue ones, and then I'll give me a Dickie shirt. Or if I could find me a whole Dickie suit, I would get a Dickie suit, Dickie shirt, Dickie pants. You know what I'm talking about? And then I'll get some, throw some corduroy house shoes on. Well, in this particular time, I only could find my blue corduroy house shoes. So I threw the motherfuckers on. I'm thinking, man, I know niggas. Ain't nobody about to fuck with me. Man, why I get up there that day and it was full of bloods. And them niggas was literally walking through there. This is when they was like heavily, there was like there's some times in LA history where even the most bloodiest wars would kind of stop for a minute. They would have like a ceasefire. They wouldn't truce up or anything, but they'll have a ceasefire. And then during those ceasefire moments, civilians were safe to walk around anywhere. And this was the time. This was like during the time where niggas was kind of up on 10 because one of the big guys, from that gang had died. So the bloods in that area was around. So I goes up in there. I forgot I got these fucking blue house shoes on. Why the fuck I go in there, bro? Once I seen niggas in there, I try to take those motherfuckers off, put them behind the trash can, and then walk barefoot. But they would let you walk barefoot in the swap meet. So I was like, fuck, man, how the fuck I'm gonna do this? So luckily I had some money on me. So I went to, they had a bunch of different shoe stores in there. I went to the shoe store. I saw some black corduroy house shoes. So I had the blue ones. I threw the motherfuckers in the trash can, bro. And I bought me some black corduroy house shoes. At that time, it was only like $14.99. Bought those motherfuckers, put them on, bro. Put them on and start walking around. I ran into one of the niggas from Six Deuce Brim that I knew. He's like, yo, what's up, Major? What's up, man? Hey, man, it ain't bull in here. He said bull. That's blood. To replace the C, Bloods would put a B there. He said, man, ain't bull in here right now. I said, man, what's going on? Such and such. You heard? And I said, oh yeah, man. He was like, man. I said, well, why y'all in here, man? The police coming and all that shit. Ain't y'all worried about this and that, or niggas coming? He's like, yeah, man. The storage is open. Everything is cool. But that's the thing. We waiting for motherfuckers to come in here, bro. And we don't want you to get caught up because when the enemy come in here, you know what I'm saying? If niggas get to twisting up, we don't want no civilians getting caught up. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of like served as like bodyguards to the store. And I was like, damn, shit. I just came here to get a fit. You know what I'm saying? So I went to my little store or whatever, got my little spot. The lady pretty much, she was like, you ain't got no change here. Just take it. Levi 501s are $50. You know what I'm saying? Well, at that time, $40. So I gave her $40 and got me a Dickie shirt off the rack. She let me take the motherfucker. She was like, just go. Like, they were so scared. It was crazy. Crazy. I got up out of that motherfucker, not maybe an hour later when I get back home. Because during this time, I was living in Gardena, West Side. So when I get back home, not about an hour later, they lit that motherfucker up like a Roman candle. They lit the Slauson swap meet up. I don't know who did it, but so they must have. So luckily, I got the fuck up out of there. Now, I never go nowhere without my biscuit. You know what I'm saying? With some sausage and cheese on that motherfucker. But I wasn't trying to get caught up in no damn shootout. I'm not, I wasn't a part of that bullshit. But if a nigga would have drew down on me, I would have had to do what I had to do. Remember, I'm military trained. My shooting skills is on a different level than just regular gangbangers. And them niggas knew that. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm young at the time, not too long out of the service. So it was just, it was crazy, man. It was just a crazy scenario. And it made me, even though I live out here, you know what I'm saying? And I got roots and base out here. Even I respect it. There's certain places I won't go with my hat on. I take that motherfucker off. Just because I don't want no issue. I don't want no funk. Because that's how bad it is. That's how bad it can get. And if you're out of town nigga, I tell out of town niggas, get with somebody that you know. A lot of out of town niggas might have family down here, and your family will tell you, don't go nowhere without me, or if you got to go somewhere, I'll go for you. I've bodyguarded people that are out of town. They're from out of town. They'll come in town. I will tell them, we'll get somebody to go to the store for you. You get niggas come from out of town. There's been several people I've guarded They'd be like, man, I want to try Popeyes, famous chicken, over there on Manchester and over there on Manchester and Normandy. Nah, man. Tell you what, you're not going. We're gonna send somebody to go get it, or I'll go get it for you. Man, I want to try chicken, Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles. Oh, no. We'll go get it for you. See, there was no DoorDash and no shit like that. We'd have to go. The artists come in from out of town, we'd have to go get the shit for them. We'd have to go get it for them. Or if they did go somewhere, they wanted to get out there and check the shit or whatever the case may be, they do that shit. They'd go and they'd be heavily guarded. But see, if they don't want to bring a lot of attention to themselves, we'll just go out ourselves and get it for them. Hey, man, I want to go over there to Louisiana Famous Chicken. Wait, hold on. We got it for you. I want to go here and I want to go there. I want to go to Magic Mountain. Okay, hold on. We'll take you, but do exactly what we tell you to do. That's why, see, that's why I got my bread and butter. A lot of guys coming from out of town, a lot of these famous dudes coming from out of town, they will have their own bodyguards, right? A lot of their bodyguards are from where they from. So they would hire extra bodyguard, like what they call loose bodyguards. They will hire extra private bodyguards and private contractors who would hire themselves out. So somebody within their camp would know somebody within, within my agency that I work for, and that person would know me, or they'll pull a couple calls out to me and be like, talking about, okay, I know a local bodyguard that's in the city that's good in the city. And then that's when I get the call and be like, and then this is where I'll be like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do. I'll get with the other bodyguards and that's how I go. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But that's just a part of it. It's crazy out here, man. Still to this day, it's not as bad as it used to be, but it could definitely be better. But there's just certain places you don't go without knowing somebody. There's certain things you don't wear. You know what I'm talking about? Chan, you know what I'm saying? Welcome to the channel. I think you might be new to the channel, man. I never seen you before. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you will, man. He said, I seen this video on my feed. Did you check in before talking about hood politics? About to make a few calls. You talking too much on hood politics. I don't have to check in. You know why I don't have to check in? Because I'm from Los Angeles, California. I don't have to check in with anybody. You know what I'm talking about? Apparently, you don't know who I am. And that's cool. I'm talking about this because I'm qualified to talk about this. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, but I'm qualified to talk about this. I'm not an outside nigga talking about stuff I don't know about. Now, if you was here at the beginning of the show, you would know that I said that I got family from some of these gangs out here. I'm more than qualified to talk about it because of my status and who I am. So that's what it is. So all my people, I got people that's Crips, I got people that's Bloods, family members, friends, stuff like that. So I'm qualified to talk about it. I've been around for a long time. So I'm talking about what I'm talking about on my channel. You know what I'm talking about? He said, no, we need to check you in. Well, we need you to check in now. You need to do a roll call. I don't gangbang. I'm a bodyguard / security consultant. I don't have to check in with nobody, like I said. Now, if you come into the channel to start up some shit, you can get off my show, man. I don't check in with nobody. This ain't that kind of show. You can go on and go somewhere. Like I said, I don't check in with nobody. I'm 50 years old. Serve this country so that niggas can walk around. So everybody, gangbangers or whoever, regular civilians, gangbangers, regular civilians can walk around safely because of my contribution to this country. I'm a combat Marine, served this country. I did my tours. I did my thing. Trust me, I don't check in with nobody. You're not talking to a child. So you're going somewhere with that. Anyway, like I was saying. So that's part of the history as far as I know when it comes to the gangs in Los Angeles. Now, you have a bunch of gangs that are starting up now. You know what I'm talking about? You have a bunch of people who are starting up. But it all branched off from the gangs the street gangs that predates the Crips and the Bloods. You know what I'm saying? The Slauson boys, or they call them the Slauson village boys. You got the green jackets, you got the yellow jackets, you got the businessmen. You know what I'm saying? Those guys like that. And all of those guys came from the Junior Black Panther Party and stuff like that. So that's how they all came about. Now, when gangs started, just according to the history that I have, like I said before at the beginning of the video, a lot of people had family members. A lot of people were considered with family members. You have a bunch of cousins, a bunch of friends, and they would come together on some family shit. Then they started naming themselves after whatever project they live in, whatever city they lived in, whatever street they lived on, or whatever the case may be. And that's how that came about. You know what I'm saying? So just giving y'all a little history on that, because like I said, my brother was like, man, we'll talk about the history on it. You talk about everything else, talk about sports, everything else. But talking about the history on it, that's why I'm bringing up the history about it. You know what I mean? From my vantage point. Like I say, I would have to do a couple different shows to like really, really, really get off into like the different gangs, the different branches, different names and stuff like that. I would really have to do another couple shows on stuff like that. But I just basically want to give y'all the history. You know what I'm saying? Give y'all the history on street gangs in LA, how they started, why they started, and stuff like that. Anybody coming in here trying to G-check me and all of that, and talking about checking in, once again, this is YouTube. This is the internet. This ain't the streets. Like I say, I don't check in with nobody where I already live. I already live in Los Angeles, California. You check in when you're coming from out of town and you're trying to go somewhere, then you check in. On the internet, my boy, ain't no checking in on the internet. This is the internet. You can write about what you want to write about. You can talk about what you want to talk about. You can say what you want to say, as long as you ain't been disrespectful. I'm running down the history as I know it. So that all that checking in shit, that don't apply to me. As a matter of fact, it shouldn't apply to anybody. You should be able to go anywhere in this country. See, here's the thing. Let me get on this right quick. I'm kind of off the history. Let me get on this right quick. Niggas that talk like that, there's a bigger picture. There's something bigger going on out there in the world. We got these, y'all been hearing about this sundown town shit going on out there, man. It's truckers coming up missing and stuff like that. I got trucker family members. I got trucker friends. They going to these different places, passing through these cities and disappearing. You see white people going crazy on us everywhere now. We had this white dude attack a group of black women. We having truckers. There's a trucker. I forgot where he was. I think he was in Arkansas or something. That motherfucker disappeared. Ain't nobody heard from him. Black people, and it's not like this shit just started. They've been doing it. I'm thinking about doing a whole show on that, but they've been doing it. They got these things called sundown towns, y'all. I know this shit sound like it should be back in the days of segregation, but it's not. They got sundown towns right now. It's crazy how motherfuckers is out here just taking people up off the streets. I talk about this shit, man. They're taking black drivers and black athletes. All these dudes is dying, harvesting body parts and shit like that. We can get deep into it. So the last thing I'm going to care about or give a fuck about is one of my own people banging on me on some stupid shit. When this motherfucker's out here doing way worse. Motherfuckers taking niggas up off the street. You think the government or this fucking imperialistic society, these white boys, you think they give a fuck about a nigga who wearing red and blue? They don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Miss me with all that dumb shit. This is ground. All this dumb shit is ground level shit. If the government wanted to, they could shut down every motherfucking hood. There is no gang in this world. Y'all have heard this before. There's no gang in this world bigger than bigger than the government. No gang. They could shut all this motherfucking shit down. If you really want to get technical about it. So all that checking in shit, that's the least of my worries. And that should be the least of anybody else's worries. You should be able to go wherever the fuck you want to go. Because guess what? All these motherfuckers talking that tough shit, check in and do this and do that. Soon as the government pull up, motherfuckers is running like roaches. We seen it happen. ISIS pulling motherfuckers off the street, ripping families apart. Who the fuck you think they're gonna target next? Any nigga that's an immigrant, that's a nigga, they targeting your ass too. They already didn't start pulling a couple of niggas up off the street. So all this dumb shit, motherfuckers fighting amongst each other in small communities. If anything, we should be standing up protecting each other, protecting our communities, just like the reason why the gang started in the first place. It started off to protect the community. I know this because, like I say, both my parents come from that. They were some of the founding men and women of the shit. Right there when it happened, right there when historical things happen. So don't tell me to fuck to check in. I don't check in with nobody. I only check in with one person anywhere, and that's with God. That's it. I don't check in with nobody. I have fought for this country, broke necks for this country, while motherfuckers sat on their ass and did nothing but terrorize their communities and stuff like that. So don't come in here telling me to check the fuck in. You can get the fuck off my channel with that dumb shit. Matter of fact, your ass is blocked. Talk about checking in. Motherfucker, I don't check in with nobody. Do you know who I am? I run my own shit. Got my own money, and I got things and people in place, and I got enough know-how and enough skill to protect myself and my family from any threat. That's the one thing these white boys taught me. These white boys taught me how to kill and how to get away with it. If you really want to be honest with it. So if anybody come fucking with me on some bullshit, I'm within my right to defend myself the way I see fit. Everybody is within their right to defend themselves the way they see fit. I just happen to be one of the motherfuckers that you ain't just about to come up in my house and hurt and do something to my family. That's not about to happen. It's not. So miss me with that bullshit. Motherfuckers talk checking in. Nigga, I'm from Los Angeles. And then when I go to another state, I make sure that I keep it positive. I tap in with anybody. I tap in with my people out there. Now, I do a tap in because it's like a common courtesy. You want to let a person know, hey, man, I'm down here in Houston. Hey, yo, man, I'm down here in New York. I'm down here in Philadelphia. I'm down here in Jersey. You only do that so that niggas would know, so that if something happened to you or something go wrong, you know you got people that knows that you're down there. It's like common courtesy. But checking in, because you got to go a certain place, or you got to be here, or you can't be in this city, or that, man, fuck that. I let my family know when I'm in town. If I'm in Louisiana, I let my family know I'm in Louisiana. If I'm in Texas, I let them know I'm in Texas. If I'm in Arkansas, I let them know I'm in Arkansas. If I'm in Mississippi, Florida, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Boston, Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit, I let them know, yo, I'm down in your town, so that they would know, not so I can get protection. I don't need protection from anybody. I'm the protector. I've got damn near rich off of protecting motherfuckers who couldn't protect themselves. To keep it up to keep it 1,000 with you. So I don't check in with nobody. Period. So yeah, I just want to give y'all a little short history on you know what I'm saying, LA gangs and stuff like that. And just a history on it because it was brought up. I didn't even want to talk about the shit. But my brother brought it up. He was like, man, get it, won't you get on it? You know what I'm saying? Yada, yada, yada. I said, yeah, man, it's something to talk about because there ain't nothing going on in sports right now. You know what I'm saying? So I figured it was something to talk about, something to get into, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm talking about? But that's it. I didn't even want the show to go this long. It was going to be it wasn't going to be no comprehensive history. It was just going to be something to talk about, get a little talking points and stuff like that. But Go ahead and hit that like button. Once again, subscribe if you're new to this channel, Major Level Entertainment. I know it's not a popular show or whatever, a popular talking point or whatever the case may be, because people are used to me talking about sports or used to me talking about this or this and that. But I told y'all, this is Major Level Entertainment. I talk about everything, y'all. We got enough Laker shows out there. We got enough sports shows out there. We got enough wrestling shows out there, baseball shows, hockey, soccer shows out there. But we don't have enough of people talking about everything. Consider me the hood news. Consider me a history book, an almanac. Not putting nobody on Front Street, but just consider me a person that's been around long enough to know the history of certain things. That's why I say what I say and do what I do. Once again, shout out to everybody that showed up to the channel. Little bro, man, DJ, please go subscribe to Lakers in 5. Go subscribe to Mooch Entertainment. Go subscribe to Rated R for Reviews. That's his TV show channel, TV review channel. Mooch Entertainment is for movie trailers and stuff like that. Lakers in 5 is for his Laker content. Please go like, share, and subscribe to Lil Bro's channel. Also, Ghost Angry came up in here earlier. Go subscribe to my other little brother, Angry's channel. He's another Laker fan, diehard from the soil. Man, please go over there and represent Angry Laker World Order Wolfpack. Go subscribe to his channel. Who else came up in here today? A couple people came up in here today. Shout out to Detroit. Shout out to the bandwagon. Please go subscribe to his channel, Rundown Productions. He got a bunch of different channels out there, but type in Rundown Productions. And my guy, my best friend across the street, the damn bandwagoneer. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to AC Picks. Shout out to my nephew Lewis. Shout out to Detroit God, my big bro. Shout out to everybody that showed up to the channel, man. Appreciate the one viewer that's in here. Whoever that is, sticking with me the whole time. Appreciate that, man. This has been another edition of Major Level Entertainment. Until next time, man. Peace. Your boy is out.
Everything I do is major. I'm getting major paper. Every time I whip a track, the shreds like a cheese grater. When I hit your spot, it ain't no way that no one can save ya. Like I said before, anything I do, I'ma do it major. Everything I do is major. I'm getting major paper. Every time I whip a track, the shreds like a cheese grater. When I hit your spot, it ain't no way that no one can save ya. Like I said before, anything I do, I'ma do it major. Everything I do is major. I'm getting major paper. Every time I whip a track, the shreds like a cheese grater. When I hit your spot, it ain't no way that no one can save ya. Like I said before, anything I do, I'ma do it major. Everything I do is major. And I'm getting major paper. Every time I whip a track, the shreds like a cheese grater. When I hit your spot, it ain't no way